guys, welcome to my next layout for my A to Z series. And the prompt or the letter fell on Q, the arrow fell on the Q, and then the letter that we have, or the prompt that we have is quotes. And so I have this quotes book that I created many years ago. And this is when it's early 2000s when we're so used to adding quotes in our layouts, and so I created just a collection of different quotes, and I divided them. And although I'm not using it up per se like the other kind of things that I have done, or use up the stash so that I can get rid of them or use them up, I do like the idea of going through some of the resources that I have captured and collected, because they're also part of the supplies, or I consider them at least part of my supplies. And so it's nice to be able to use them. So I had picked some quotes that I thought would work really well with this particular memory, and I put that in these. So I typed it with my manual typewriter. I have one of those old C typewriters, and it's a Royal brand. You can't find, or it's very hard for you to find ribbon for the Royal brand. So I kind of, not use it too much because I don't want to have to buy some to try to find the ribbons, but I do like that I was able to use it here. So the idea that I have was I was going to type up the quotes, and then I was going to lay them on the one side of my layout vertically, and then I'm going to have a collection of papers on the left side that will house my single photo. I rarely do a single photo now. Most of the way I like to document multiple photos, just because I am realizing that space is very limited in my home, and I don't have the capacity to hold like 40 albums, although I think I'm halfway through that. I have been scrapbooking for, I believe now, over 20 years now. So I don't have a lot of room to expand as far as my albums, but there are some times like this case where I feel like I wanted to just capture this specific picture and memory, not more so the memory of the picture, but the comment that my daughter made. So just a little background, the photo was taken many years ago. I would say if not 20, no, not 20 years ago, maybe like 17 years ago or so. This is when my kids were, my two big kids were still preschool. So I think my oldest was, I want to say like 4, and my daughter was 2, something like that. Anyways, this picture was taken when we used to live in Southern California, and we went on a hike through, I can't remember the mountain. Anyways, we went on a hike, and I think it was the foothills of the mountain near Azusa, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, we went on a hike, and we were, just taking pictures. And so when my daughter, she was going through some old pictures because she wanted to put a string of photos on her wall in her room. And so she said to me that, I love this photo because you look so happy. And so when I look at this photo, it always reminds me of that comment that she made. She's 19 now. So for her to say that, I thought it was really interesting for me. And I said, well, of course I look happy because I'm outside, I'm outdoors, and then I'm with my favorite people. So of course I look happy. But it was just her comment just kind of struck me. And so I am going to actually hand write that journaling and then add it to another tag that will go tucked in behind the photo. But first, I want to create a kind of quilt looking background for my photo, not because it needed it, but I just am really gravitating towards my scraps lately. I feel like there is a need to use them up or purge them, and so that's what I'm kind of trying to do lately, is trying to pull more papers from there. And then of course, if whatever I don't use up, I am just going to throw away, because I really don't need little bits and pieces of all the photo or all the the papers, right? Because then I won't have any more room to get more papers next time. So I am going, I picked the kind of pinkish types of paper. I did add a yellow in there, but most of them are pink. It's because my jacket and my photo and my daughter's jacket are different shades of pink. And then I am deciding, initially I had wanted the papers to be diagonal on the white cardstock, but then I thought about it, and I was like, you know what, it looks better as diagonal, and so that's what I went here. Also, I was kind of worried that some of the papers won't span if I make it go crosswise, because they're not long enough. So I just went vertical, and I'm happy with that. I did trim this paper. It was originally 8.5 by 11, and I cut it down to I think 8 inches, because the bottom paper that I chose spans 8 inches. And also I wanted to have enough room for those tags that I created to have space on the right side of the layout. I am using a craft cardstock as a background, because why not? That was one of the things that I had to change my mindset on, because I'm so used to doing white or black that sometimes I forget that craft is also neutral. So I'm trying to remember that. Because I created the tags, I felt like, hey, you know what? It needs some kind of thing through the holes. And because I just recently used my fibers for that first layout for the series, the fibers was still kind of in my mind. And so I actually pulled out a pink fiber, and then like a regular simple colored or one color twine, and then another one that was double or two-tone. I don't know, whatever that is. Anyways, I'm just finishing up this layout. I did find this strip of just paper, 1/4-inch paper, and then I'm going to add that to kind of close that gap between my strips of paper and the background. I did angle my photo just because I feel like it can give it a little bit of difference compared to all of the kind of more linear parts of my layout. And here is the tags that I created. One of them is just a piece of paper, and that's just going to go on the back of or tucked into my photo as well, because I felt like if I just did the one tag, it just seems like, I don't know, it's just missing a friend. So I created another tag so that it will have a friend. So I'm going to tuck that in, and that's going to come out a little bit more than this. And so the tag itself is white, but then I wanted to add some color to it. So I used one of the papers, the yellow one, used a scrap of that and ran that through my die cut machine with the same die, but only cut out the top part. And I'm really happy how that looks. So in the pictures, it looks like it's a full yellow, but it's actually just the top. Now, I had cut out these papers or these words from a pattern paper. It just had a bunch of script words in there and also some of the little bits of words. And so I am going to add those with some foam adhesive. I couldn't think of the word there, but I'm going to add that. And so the title will be This Is Us Together, which I think is very apropos for the theme of the layout that I'm going for and also for my journaling. If you are new to my channel or you're new to this series, basically what I'm trying to focus on this year is to using my stash. And I've done this kind of series before where I had prompts from A through Z, and each letter corresponds with a particular product, and that's what I'm focusing on, the layout. And I'm really liking this because it draws focus on that one product, and I'm able to use it, and I'm able to remember why I'm keeping it or why I need to just toss it. So it's a good way for me to gauge why I'm still holding on to things. And it's also good for me to use up my stash, because then if I'm using up my stash and then I use it all up, then I have more room for a new stash, right, to go into my space. And so I get to have more new toys or new things to play with. So it's like one of those things where I have to just kind of like first in, first out type of thing, right? And so I just really, I like that idea. I'm not always good at that, especially when, you know, there's certain products that I just gravitate to over and over again. But these kinds of breaks from the norm, I would say, is good for my creative brain, and it's also good for my way of scrapbooking, because then I identify the ones that I really like and the things that I shouldn't keep anymore. So now that I've finished the bones of the layout, I'm just really adding some little things here and there. I found a bunch of little hearts from the book. I created my own like die cut book where I put all the die cuts there. I just adhere that with some removable adhesive so that I can pull it out, and I'm just going through the things. I am like, the way I organize my book is kind of like by theme, and so I was kind of going towards like my Valentine's love theme and also home and family theme. So again, I found all these little hearts, and I thought that they would be perfect to kind of just fill in, kind of spread it across the quotes. And then I found this, I will always love you, and then I'll find 2 more hearts, and then I will add it there, and then I'll call it good. If you like these videos, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you are inspired by the product choices that I'm making, I highly encourage you to give it a shot and use those same products on your next layout. Until then, I will see you in the next one. Bye.